Hi everybody, my name is Erica Johnson and I'm going to do a quick Google Forms training for educators. So the first thing that you're going to do is open up your Google account and look for your 9Square up by your sign in login name. And when you click on it, your Google Apps, you're going to search for Forms. If you don't have it already installed, you can go to your apps marketplace and add it on. So when you click on Forms, it gives you several templates at the top that are done for exit tickets, assessments, or worksheets, or even quizzes. But I usually use the blank one because it gives you a little bit more flexibility in how you want to set them up. So I'm going to show you a few of them that I've already created and how they can be used. One of them that we have been using is just a very basic quiz style form, and this is one that I've used for the water cycle. So the students will put in their name, and you can make certain fields required and certain fields just able to choose whether they want to answer that or not. Usually if they switch classes, we put homeroom teacher because when you go to the data, you can sort by teacher to see your results. And then each question can be a multiple choice, fill in the blank, drop down menu, or even open response where it's a short answer or a paragraph format. So when you see the stars, those are all required questions that the students will have to answer. So once the students take the form, at the top right hand corner you'll see your response tab, and you can click on the responses, and I've used this before both for grades but also for an opportunity to show the students how they performed on a question or even the quiz in general. So if you scroll down, clicked off. You can see the students' individual responses or the summary as a class. It keeps on switching. So it lists the names of the students who've responded so far, and then it can also give you a pie chart for student responses by percentage of students who chose the different options if it's a multiple choice. And then you could see a bar graph for kind of the correct answer and then how many students got it correct versus how many students got it incorrect based on the options. So that's what the summary looks like for that basic quiz. And then if you click on individuals, you can see student scores, and you could scroll through and take grades pretty quickly. You could also click on the question and see which students got each question incorrect. The green spreadsheet icon allows you to export to an Excel document or a sheet, Google Sheet actually, and then you can sort it based on each question that you inserted onto the form. So you could do it by time or by score, and then also any of the options that you put in as a question, like the name, the homeroom teacher, or the individual questions and what the choice, the most chosen choice was. So I'm going to go back into Forms, and I'll show you another one that we've used before. This one was a daily guided reading log, and it shows you another option for the types of responses that you can insert. You can insert a date, where they can just choose a date from a calendar, and then you could also insert a picture or a screenshot, an image, or even a video for choices. And those can be found on your computer. And those are some short answer and long answer response questions. Okay, and then I don't know if you noticed, but that you can also change the picture and the style of the form to fit whatever you're doing. So there are several different pictures in the options that I'll show you later. So let's get started. If you click on the blank plus sign, there's a new form. This is the starting point for building your form. Once you title your form, let's just call this Social Studies Weekly Test. Okay, and then if you click on Untitled Form up here in the corner, it automatically changes your title to whatever you titled your quiz. It automatically pops up one question, and those can always be added or deleted to, I usually make my first question the name. If you want to randomize your test or your quiz, do not put a name section, because it will randomize the questions so that the questions aren't asked in the same order. If you have kids taking the quiz next to one another, you might want to choose to randomize the questions, but name will get mixed up in that, so don't put a name if you're going to randomize. Then you would need to select email to keep the email address as a response, and I'll show you how to do that later. So the name will automatically go to a short answer response. If you want them to be required to give a name, you hit the required button. And then you can always copy this same type of question, or you could delete it later if you didn't want it. And if you toggle over the 6 square up here, you can move it up or down if you put the questions in the wrong order. You can always move the order later. So then if you wanted to add a question, you always just hit the plus sign to add question. If you wanted to add in an image or a video that they needed to watch first before answering the question, you could insert it here. If you wanted to insert the picture like you saw before with the books on the options, so if you wanted to have picture options, you would add them in the individual options under the question. So if you wanted to make this your first question, what text structure was used? And you would want that the different types of question types would be, they could just check a box. So sometimes if you, I don't know, maybe wanted to make a calendar type of a question, you could maybe have them just check the box under the ones that fit and then leave the boxes empty that don't fit. You have your short answer, your paragraph, multiple choice. You can create a drop-down menu, multiple choice grid, checkbox grid, and date and time. So is this we'll ask them if this is a compare and contrast. If this is a sequential description. Or problem solution. Or cause and effect. And then I'm going to require this to be answered. See, now that when I hit the down arrow, it added in some more options. You can make as many options as you want, but if you don't want those to be shown, you can remove them. And I'm going to make this required. So I'm just going to put in one question for right now so that you can see how I can turn this into a quiz. So if you are done, I can, change the color. I could change the background image if I wanted to make this, let's say, kids. Well, there's just some of the different options you can make. Let's make it a spider. And so if you wanted to see what it looks like, or the kids' view, or whoever you're going to assign this to or share this with, you can always hit the eye, which is a preview of how the person's going to see it. And so I'm going to go back to edit. When you go to the settings, that's where you can turn this into a quick quiz. Before, when I told you that you might not want to put the name on if you randomize the options, I would collect the email addresses when you assign it. So that would be something that I checked if I randomized the questions and did not put a name. Otherwise, you're not going to know who submitted. You can limit it to one response if it's a quiz that you wanted them to take just one time. You could restrict it to students that were only or people who are only had the same email address or from the same place that you were. You could check the box to edit after submission if you wanted them to go back in and fix answers or change things. But if you were making it a quiz, I would recommend that you didn't check that. And then you could see a summary chart and text responses if the students could see that afterwards. So if you wanted to make it a quiz, you would click on the quiz tab, click make a quiz. You can have the option to give them their grade immediately after they submit the quiz, or you could, if there were short answer or paragraph response questions that you had to look at, you could choose later after manual review so that they didn't see the multiple choice answers before the entire grade was given. So I'm going to save it. And then under responses, when I go back down, I'm going to, under the question, I'm going to click back on the question, and under responses, no, question, sorry. Sometimes it takes a minute. There it is. So now that I've saved that I wanted to make it a quiz, I can make the answer key. So down here, I'm going to click on answer key, put in how many points I want that question worth. Let's say I want it to be worth 5 points. And then I would click the correct answer. So this was going to be a cause and effect, would be the correct answer. And then I would go on down to my next question and do the same thing. So once I'm ready to share this, after I've done that with all of them, I would go to the 3 circles under more, and I could add a collaborator. When you add a collaborator, that's someone that can actually edit your document. So if you chose to invite someone to edit, you would put in their email address, and then under this edit pen, I would make sure that she could edit, so it's checked that she could edit. I could also prevent her from sending it to someone else that could also edit. So if I wanted it to just be her, give her rights to edit, I would also check this box to prevent her from sharing it with someone that could also edit the original. And so when you are under collaborators, you can change how you share the link. So if you're assigning this to students, for example, and not everyone has access, or even just share, I've used a form before to have parents sign up for teacher-parent conferences. And so not everybody has Google, and so if you wanted to share a link and that people would have to access that may not have Google, you would want to choose public on the web. That means anyone can access this form without having Google. You could choose anyone that has the link, so they would have to have the link in order to access the form. You could choose someone in your district or anyone at your district that has the link, or just specific people that you share the link with. So if this is a private document that you only want people to see if you've given them permission, it would be the specific people option. And so I'm going to go ahead and put this public on the web and save. And so the way that I would share this is I would highlight the link, and I could email it. I could post it on a sharing forum like Google Classroom, or we use Schoology, or a QR code. Any of those options to share would be great. And then I could send it, and that sent it to the person that I wanted to edit. And then I'll click done. And then once students start, or people start responding, the responses immediately pop up into your bank here under responses. So you could see it as it happens, or you could check it later once you wanted everyone to respond. And you could also click the link that says to stop accepting responses if it's gone past a certain date. Okay, I think that is all I have to share. So I hope you find a great way to use Google Forms in your classroom or in your school.